Contracts, types of contracts, and the contract procedures are very important domains to learn for procurement or in any project management activities. If you are heading for PMP or any project management examinations in near future, this topic is particularly of more importance because basically the contracting is not the usual job of a project manager. There could be a separate procurement department for this job. In the part 1 of this lecture, we are going to understand what is contract and how the contracting is done and what are the types of contract. In part 2, we will learn which contract to use in different scenarios, and we will also learn the contracts with practice questions and simulated examples so that you have more in-depth and practical approach of the concepts. Before moving any further, I want to mention that you can download the quick contract selection guide that will be very helpful in your project management exam. You can do that by going through the link in the description. Also in the link, you can go through the contract selection flowchart. Get all these through the 2 links given in the description. First of all, let's learn what is contract. The PMBOK guide explains contract as a mutually binding agreement that obligates the seller to provide the specified product or service or result and obligates the buyer to pay for it. Some points that we can make out of this definition are: contract is mutually binding. It binds both parties legally. It binds the customer or buyer to pay the seller for product or service, and it binds the seller to provide the product or the service to the buyer. Before diving well inside the types of contracts, we should understand about the contract process also. So basically there are 2 types of contracting: centralized and a decentralized contracting system. In a centralized contracting, there is a separate purchase department or a purchase manager who handles all the works of procurement and contracting. In a decentralized contracting, the purchasing work also falls under the radar of project manager besides the usual project manager functions of managing the scopes and other aspects of the project. Let's now understand the process of contracting, just in brief, so that you understand exactly the need of various procurement documents and different contract types. Let's think of a scenario. You are a project manager of a decentralized contracting system or a project with the decentralized contracting system. That means you are responsible for all the activities of the procurement. The process that I am describing here is true for centralized system also, except as discussed earlier, there could be separate purchase or procurement department carrying out this function in a decentralized system. For running the project, obviously, you need some resources, right? So you are a buyer. You need the resources you need to run the project. So you need a statement of work and other contract related documents. This could be purchase statement of work, invitation for bid, and a request for proposal or request for the bid. I've discussed these terms in my other video, but for quick explanation of the concept, in the request for proposal, the buyer asks the seller for in-detail knowledge on how the problem of the buyer can the seller solve. Many things are included, and it is a detailed document where we have information on what deliverable is provided, the price of the product or service. It may also include the procedure, how the product or service is prepared and handled to the buyer. It may also ask for the company's or seller's quality certifications and work experience certificates, etc. The statement of work is the scope of purchasing, what we are interested in buying and why. The request for bid is the request for total price to do the work. Several sellers are sent the request for quotation or bid and the best is selected, so we need this document. These documents are sent to the seller. Still, sometimes there could be a meeting or conference to make sure that the procurement need is clear to all the sellers. So this type of meeting is called bidders conference. Many things could be learned from bidders conference as well. The seller could learn the real requirement of the buyer and the intention, and the buyer can know if anything is needed to be updated in the statement of work. After updating the statement of work, now it's time for sellers to come in the picture. They form the bid, quote or proposal in response to the request for bid, quote or proposal, and then they send the proposal to the buyer. There could be some negotiation in price and various things between buyer and seller, and based on the several factors, a particular seller is selected and is awarded a bid, or say the seller is awarded a contract. So this is as simple as this flowchart. But there are various things to know about the type of documents that are needed in contracting process and type of contract that could be awarded. We will learn that in the next video. You can download the flowchart and situational contract selection checksheets through the link in the description. This could be helpful, especially for students preparing for project management examinations in near future.